Hush is a 2016 horror thriller directed by Mike Flanagan and co-written by Kate Siegel, who also stars in the film. It offers a tense and gripping story of survival, and the film centers on Maddie Young, a deaf mute writer who must use her wit and resilience to survive a deadly home invasion. So, let's get into this. Maddie Young is a talented author living in a secluded house in the woods. She is deaf and mute, having lost her hearing and speech due to a bacterial meningitis at the age of 13. Despite her disability, Maddie leads an independent life. She focuses on her writing, and she is currently working on a new novel and is having some struggles with the ending, which is a recurring theme throughout the film, with her thinking about the ending, whether it be her life or her book or how the night is going to end. Maddie's house is equipped with modern technology to assist her, such as a vibrating alarm, visual smoke detector, and of course FaceTime on her laptop, which she uses to communicate with her friends and family. Her closest neighbour, Sarah, who's played by Samantha Sloan, often visits her and is learning sign language to help communicate better with her. One evening, after Sarah visits and the two talk a while, and Sarah tells her that she loved her new book. Maddie then tells her about her cat Bitch, and Sarah then leaves for the night. Maddie settles into her routine. After cooking some delicious-looking dinner and failing to work on the end of her novel, the tension escalates when a blooded-up Sarah, frantic and pounds on the door, screaming for help. Maddie is unable to hear her and continues cooking. She's oblivious to Sarah's desperate cries. A man then comes out of absolute nowhere and shoots Sarah with a crossbow before he catches Sarah and brutally kills her in front of the house, stabbing her 12 times while Maddie remains unaware. The man then enters the house as Maddie calls her sister. As she said she sees something in the back, but Maddie said it was just her cat before she hangs up. Maddie then continues to write the end of her novel, but she then gets a message from her phone. She locks the door and starts to realise she's not alone. Her suspicions are confirmed when she turns on the porch light and sees the masked man holding her phone. He cuts off the power and continues to taunt Maddie. However, she refuses to be intimidated and writes on the glass, "Won't tell, didn't see face, boyfriend coming home." The man then removes his mask, revealing his face, and asks her if she can read lips, before he smugly states, "You've seen it now." She realises she must rely on her wits to survive, so she begins to strategize. She attempts to escape through various means, but the man blocks her move every time. She then tries to get to Sarah's phone, but the man quickly appears and tries to get her. But Maddie hits him with a hammer before she closes the window, and the man reveals he had the phone the whole time. Maddie then tries to make a run for it, but she's almost shot with a crossbow, so she retreats back to her house, and she's unable to get back inside before the man absolutely crushes her hand with the door before bashing it with his foot. These are some of the things that I love in Mike Flanagan films, just the way that he absolutely brutalises people's hands. It's really something that happens way too often in his films. Gerald's Game, Doctor Sleep, Hush, constantly happening. But yeah, Maddie then gets on the roof and distracts the man by throwing a flashlight. She then tries to crawl down, but the man returns and shoots her leg with a crossbow. She then steals the crossbow and goes back inside, and she cleans the wound before stopping the blood flow. A neighbour named John then arrives. He's looking for Sarah. The man pretends to be a police officer, and he claims that Maddie is in distress, and he's responding to a call. John becomes suspicious, though, and he attempts to defuse the situation. He's subtly trying to warn Maddie. However, the man then stabs John in the neck and leg, and he falls to the floor, presumably dead. But then he springs back to life, and he tackles the man, attempting to suffocate him, but he dies before he can. This is one of the scenes which really shows you the man's psychopathy, because just the way that, like, after he stabbed him in the neck and the leg, he's just like, it's done, just trying to make him give up at this point. Meanwhile, Maddie, with her leg still bleeding, now needs to figure out a way to escape or die trying. She uses her inside voice, which we learned earlier is what she uses to figure out all possible outcomes in her mind. She determines that almost every outcome will end in death, all except one. Maddie realises that she has to fight, and so when the man says he's coming inside, she tells him to do it. She then hides in the bathroom with a knife, and the man breaks through the window. But Maddie feels his laugh on the back of her neck and stabs him in the leg before she goes downstairs and pretends to pass out. This then gives her enough time to distract the man and start the alarm. However, the man got her to the ground and began to choke her. Maddie then grabs the corkscrew and stabs the man in the neck before killing him. She then grabs her phone and she calls the police. The film ends with Maddie sat on her porch with her cat bitch, finally free from the tormentor. So Hush, it's a really, really cool film. It is a masterclass in minimalist horror. It's so good. It really showcases Mike Flanagan's skillful direction and the power of a really well-executed concept. The film's strength lies in its simplicity. It focuses on primal fear of being hunted and just the resilience that needs to be used to fight back. Kate Siegel's performance as Maddie is nothing short of amazing. She really brings some depth and authenticity to the role. She sort of portrays her as a really determined character who isn't going to let her physical capabilities stop her. And her performance of a deaf and mute character is both really well done and also just kind of grounding to the film. It keeps it in reality rather than just saying, she's not able to do anything. She's still able to do loads of stuff. And John Gallagher Jr. delivers a really, really good performance as the intruder. Of course, I've seen him in a lot of other films. He's been in the Belko Experiment, except he's a bit more nicer in that one. And his character's lack of backstory or motives really makes him an embodiment of pure evil. And he just really implies, that he's done this before. On his crossbow, there's, little, notches on there, which shows how many people he killed. I think it was, 12 or 13 by this point. And Flanagan's direction as well. It's really, really efficient. It makes great use of the confined setting. And the isolated house really becomes a character in itself with its layout. And the cat and mouse game, literally. The sound design is really well done in this movie as well. It really immerses you in Maddie's silent world while using some auditory clues to build some tension. And the absence of just traditional jump scares and the reliance on more, atmospheric tension definitely sets this film apart from, other horror films that have come out even recently, i.e. Longlegs. That really focused on the jump scares, which was probably my least favourite part of it. The film's pacing is really, really well done, though. It's able to maintain a steady build-up of tension without resorting to just unnecessary subplots or filler. Sure, John sort of comes out of nowhere, but it works in the plot. It shows you that this guy is literally willing to pretend to be anyone or anything just to kill these people. And yeah, each moment is really crafted to just advance the story and deepen the viewer's engagement. And Maddie is probably one of my favourite heroines recently. The use of silent and ambient noise is really, really well done. It creates sort of an experience that sort of mirrors Maddie's perspective, and it sort of cuts in and out of those perspectives over and over. It will show you the killer's perspective, it will show you Sarah's perspective, it will show you John's perspective. Then Maddie's perspective will be mute, whereas their perspectives will have sound. It's a really, really cool experience. Ultimately, this is really just a great minimalist horror movie. It offers a fresh take on the home invasion genre, which has really just been bashed down recently, especially with films like The Strangers Chapter 1. And it's got a great premise, amazing acting, and some brutal kills. I think it is a really cool film. I give it a 9 out of 10, but what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below.